766 today, I say in the usual customer service voice. You know, the monotone one that sounds polite and annoyed at the same time. Yeah, that one. My name's Dean. I work overnights at a gas station in the middle of nowhere. To be fair, it pays pretty well. All I do is smoke quickly and rip ass without any customers catching me, but let's be real, they always do. Except for one night. Some guy came in freaked out. "Oh my God, you have to help me. Please, I'm begging you," he says as I think, "Oh God, another one." "With what, sir?" I say. "My girlfriend, she's been kidnapped," he says. "Okay, give me a minute," I say as I grab the phone from behind me. "You mind giving some details? Where y'all were at, who took her, what happened?" I dial 911. "You're not going to believe me," he cries. "Well, son of a bitch, I have to tell the cops something," I say, getting pissed off. "Tusayan police," says the cop. "Hi, my name's Dean, and I have some guy telling me his girlfriend's been kidnapped." "Okay, can I get the victim's name?" the cop pries. "What's your name, man?" I ask. "Ronnie," he mutters. "It's Ronnie," I say, before I saw it. I can hear the officer saying something, but I tune it out. It must have been 6'9". I can't tell what it looks like, but it had antlers or horns. I drop the phone and slowly go for my gun, making sure I don't drop eye contact. It's staring at Ronnie. No, it's him. Ronnie cries and he runs to the back room. I'm getting really tired of how bitchy he is, but I guess I get it. Some tall shit staring at me would freak me the fuck out too. Gun unholstered, I turn off the safety, point, and aim. I blink and it's gone. I saw it run for a split second, but it must have been going about 60 miles an hour. I stood there, shocked. I reset the hammer on my gun and rush to the door. I lock it and try to find Ronnie. "Ronnie?" I shouted. I return the gun to its holster. Is it gone?" he whispers. "Where the fuck are you?" I demand. Ronnie squeezes out from underneath the sink. He pissed his pants on top of it. Now I feel bad because there's no way that was comfortable, and now he smells. I sigh and help him out. "What the hell was that, Ronnie?" I ask. "A skinwalker," he says. "A what?" "A skinwalker," he whimpers. "Oh, hell no. Get your stupid, superstitious shit out of here," I gripe. "Hey, you saw it too," he argues. "No, it's some jackass in a mask," I try to reason, lying. I have to admit, it was some weird shit. Nobody moves that fast. "And you're saying that guy kidnapped your girl?" I ask. "She's dead. They die. They always die. If a skinwalker gets a hold of you, you don't come back," he says, monotone. "No, we're not gonna start that shit. A, you don't know she's dead. B, I've already called the phone. We can..." The lights cut out. Fuck, another outage? Or is this thing smart enough to cut power like that? The 2 emergency lights fill the room. Shit, I say. I pull out my phone. No signal, of course. I get my gun and pull the hammer back. "Whoa, you're not going to go after that thing, are you?" Ronnie exclaimed. "Hell no. But if, and I say if, that guy is what you say he is, I need something to protect myself with," I reply. "A gun's not going to kill it," he asserts. "Really? Hollow points do a shit ton of damage." "I don't know, but I heard that guns won't kill them," he says. "What? How would you know?" I asked. "I called it," he sputtered out. That's some bold shit to say to a guy with a fucking gun in his hand. Why the fuck would you do something like that? "How do you know this isn't just some guy fucking with you? How do you know this is a skinwalker?" I demanded. "I went to the medicine man," he mumbled. "A medicine man? You mean like some kind of witchcraft bullshit? You're fucking with me, right?" I say. "Then you explain what you saw," he cries. A really tall fuck with a really good mask, I deny. I called it. I wanted him dead. I wanted her all to myself, and now they're all dead, Ronnie cries. What the fuck are you talking about? I ponder. Ronnie pauses. I'm native to these lands. I know that Native Americans get a bad rap around here. You don't say. I cut him off. He glares at me and then continues. But I know that this is real. I know that if I couldn't marry Savannah, I would rather be dead. Now, the Skinwalker is out. They're always out, but I called this one. There's no saving me. He gets up and begins to walk to the door. You're not making any sense. What the hell are you talking about? I yell. Ronnie stops. I called the medicine man. He gave me instructions on how to summon the Skinwalker. I marked Savannah's father, and it killed him. Now it killed Savannah, and clearly he wants me. He ignores you. Just stay safe, Dean. He continues to walk. What the hell are you doing? I demand. Giving myself to the Skinwalker. He'll stop once I'm dead, but he'll want more, eventually. He'll get you if you call. If you stare. If you're scared, Ronnie says. No, I'm not going to let you do that. What makes you think it'll stop if you die? If you're not lying out of your ass. It just sounds like you're giving up, I say. He presses on the door before shoving it. Like I said, it's not going to happen. It's locked, and you can already see the wire in the windows. You're not going to die. Not if I can help it, I assert. Ronnie screams and begins to slam his hands and body against the doors. I take a step back and ready my pistol. Eventually, he breaks down and just cries. That's when I see it. A police cruiser rolls in. It pulls up to the front parking spot and comes out. Officer Jenny. Not OJ. I have to do something. Move, I commanded. Ronnie scurries out of the way as I shuffle through the massive keys that I have. Then I see the thing, charging at her in the distance. No, I yell. I find the key, unlock and rip the door open. Dean, buddy, what's the issue? Asks OJ. I draw my gun. Hey! She yells and draws hers. Behind you! I yell. She realizes I'm pointing my gun behind her and sees it. Whoa, what the fuck? She yells. I fire my gun. Missed. She fires hers. Miss. She fires a few more rounds and missed. I grab her by her small frame and pull her in. She lands hard on her back, and she's out cold. I go back and turn the key, and the thing's locked out. Oh my God. I've never heard a gun get shot before, says Ronnie, astonished. He gasps. I turn to find the Skinwalker standing at the front doors. It's strange. It seems to be slightly shorter than before, more agile, and his horns are more like goat horns now. Much smaller in comparison to the antler-like horns I saw earlier. Half man thing, half beast. This shit kinda looks like a naked man on the bottom and a goat or a bull on the top. It looks different. Is there two of them? I thought so. Until I saw it started growing taller. It made disgusting snapping noises as it grew. Its horns extended out. And next thing I knew, it ran away. We're screwed, I said. What happened to you staying alive? Ronnie says. Look here, it's you, me, and a passed out cop right now. Her cruiser is there. Maybe we got a shot at getting out of here. My car is... I stumble. Is what? Ronnie cuts in. The back door. Shit, it's not locked. I run while Ronnie follows. It's too late. We made it to the back room to find the Skinwalker standing in the door. It points its face to Ronnie. He freezes. Thinking quickly, I slam the back office door shut. Ronnie, help me! I shout. We pick up Officer Jenny. To the cooler, it'll lock itself, I say. We pull OJ into the cooler with us. closing it all the way and locking it behind us. OJ is still out cold. The fridge is locked from the outside, and Ronnie is on the verge of crying. What a bitch. Dean? Ronnie muttered out. What? I demanded. Is she okay? Is she dead? He asked. No, you dick. She just got knocked out. I say. Honestly, how stupid can this idiot be? I'm not going to lie, she hasn't moved, and I don't know how well she'd do in a cooler. Ronnie scurries his fat ass over to Jenny and leans in real close. The fuck are you doing? I demand. What if she needs CPR? Ronnie squeaks. Move your ass over, I say. I look over and do a once-over to see if she's bleeding from anywhere. Nope. I can see the condensation leaving her nose and mouth in the cold air. She's fine. See? She's still breathing, I say. OJ starts grumbling. Jenny. Officer Welsh, I call. I heard you the first time, OJ groans out. Shit. You really went all out on my skull, didn't you, Die Arch? She muttered out. Well, I say as she overlaps. You mind telling me what the hell you're doing with a Skinwalker? Me and Ronnie are shocked. You mean... I ask, and she cuts me off. Yeah, they're real. There's no hiding it from you, but... like I said, what are you doing hanging around them? She demanded. You know, OJ, just doing my job, before Romeo over here barges in and called one to take out his girl's dad. I glare at Ronnie. You did what? She asks. He stumbles. He called one to take out his girlfriend's dad because he didn't get the blessing they had hitched. I state. Jenny gives him the mom stare. Did you? She asks. Yes, he said. What the fuck is wrong with you? She demands, whacking him on the back of the head. Do you know what those things are? Do you know how many cops were lost to those sons of bitches? Do you know how many families we had to lie to just to cover them up and keep to say and protected? Skinwalkers don't hurt people unless they're called. Very rarely, if they need to hunt. Hey, I cut her off. Listen, we all hear a faint banging noise, growing more aggressive with each strike. We peer through the racks in the cooler to see through the glass doors. Next thing you know, the office door comes flying across the store and crashes into the register. It comes out, scanning the area. After finding nothing, it approaches the double doors and peels them off their hinges and tosses the frames behind. Oh my God, we're dead, cries Ronnie. No, Romeo, we aren't dead. Not yet, OJ says. For now, let's get our heads on straight. Seconds pass like minutes, minutes like hours. I check my watch, and it's only been 3 minutes in real time. We gotta think of something. That, and I don't have my gun. I must have dropped it when Dean pulled me in, OJ says. Hey, Die Arc, let me use your gun in the meantime. The hell you are, I say, giving her bitch face. You damn straight I am, she asserts. Oh no, guys, don't fight, Ronnie squeals. Shut up, Ronnie. Shut up, Romeo. We overlap each other. I thought you said he was Romeo, OJ says. Yeah, the Romeo to his now gone Juliet, I say. The silence grows louder. You're right. You'd have to pry my Beretta out of my cold, dead fingers before I'd give him up. Let's go out and find my gun, OJ says. Yeah, right. The door's locked from the outside, Ronnie says. Shit, she mutters. Any plans? Yeah, the shelf posts are bolted into the ground and the walls, but the shelves themselves, they're held in with a metal peg. Help me take off the product and we should be able to push open the glass door from the inside, I say. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go for it, OJ exclaims. We begin taking cans, beer, and bottles off the shelves and throwing them behind us. Ronnie and I lift the metal shelves up, and OJ helps us pull them out and get them to the back. After a few minutes, we finally have enough space for OJ to squeeze out. OJ, I think you can fit through there. Squeeze out and open the cooler door, I say in a low voice, handing her my gun. Are you sure, Diark? I don't want to get between you and your babe, she says, referring to my gun. She laughs and squeezes out. Quickly, she presses her back to the wall, pointing my gun to confirm clear. She makes her way back around and opens the cooler doors. We're clear for now. I hope you didn't miss your sweetie for too long, she says as she hands my gun back. Now cover me so I can look for mine. We crouch down and make our way to the front doors. We find her gun almost immediately. I'm assuming these things don't know what guns are, because I don't know about you. If I saw a free gun on the ground, I would take it, OJ says. Shit, who wouldn't? I chimed in. Me, Ronnie says. We know. It's okay, says OJ. Let's get back to my truck. We can make it down to the station. From there, we can have Sergeant hunt this thing down. You've killed one before? How? Ronnie says. You get a big enough gun, you can kill anything, OJ says. I'll drink to that, I say. Come on, we gotta move. The station is just a few miles down the road, OJ says. We make our way to our truck and get in, back out and drive. We're flooring it, going at least 70 to 80 miles per hour. It's so dark that we can't risk crashing, but OJ knows these roads like the back of her hand. Jenny tried calling into the station. Static echoes. Buckle up, boys. We're going for one hell of a joyride, Jenny says. We'll be fine, right? Right? Ronnie whimpers. Wrong. The Skinwalker is running behind us, catching up to the truck. Shit, they can do that? Ronnie yelps. Yeah, they're hella fast. Just don't look at him. If you do, stare him down, kid. You hear me? Stare him down, OJ yells. That thing's going to look at Ronnie, Jenny, and we all know he's not going to stare that Skinwalker down, I reply. Ronnie boy, you need to put on your big boy pants now. If he tries looking at you, you look back. You got that, kid? You got that? She screamed at him. But it's too late. The Skinwalker is already staring at a crying Ronnie. The beast tears off one of its antler-like horns and throws it under the car, causing a blowout. No, shit! Jenny yells. Jenny loses control of the truck, fishtailing from side to side. Brace yourselves, Jenny shrieks. Up ahead, I see the famous bend on the 64. I'm screaming no in my head, but I can't find the nerve to get it out. Dean? I'm scared, Jenny says. I turn to see that she's started to cry. Jenny, listen to me. We don't have time to be scared. On the count of 3, slam on the brakes, I shout. Jenny nods. 1, 2, 3. Hit the brakes, I yell as I pull the handbrake. The truck fishtails one last time before I can feel the tires lifting off the ground. Shit. Time freezes, like everything is going in slow motion. I turn to see the safety rails and think we might just be saved. But it's the rail that threw the car over the edge. Don't get me wrong, Arizona is pretty flat, but trying to brake at 80 miles an hour and hitting a low barrier sends a truck rolling.
Everything goes black, which wouldn't be so bad if I didn't know Ronnie wasn't wearing his seatbelt.
I come to. The truck is still hissing. OJ is passed out, and Ronnie is nowhere to be found. Fuck him. Fuck that guy. Why didn't he just wear his fucking seatbelt? Luckily, the truck landed tire side down. I get out of the truck. Ronnie! I scream. Ronnie, answer me, you son of a bitch! I threatened. I hobble around the fields trying to find Ronnie. I notice OJ is coming around. Dean! Dean, where are you? I think my leg is broken. Dean! Jenny groans. Just don't move, Jenny. I need to find Ronnie. I yell. That's when I see it. An irregular lump in the dry and rocky landscape. Is that Ronnie? I approach it. It's too dark to see. One step closer and closer. I reach my hand out, and just when I'm about to touch the shape. Dean, my door is stuck. I can't get it open. I smell gasoline, says Jenny. I turn, but it's too late. The back of the truck bursts into flames. Jenny shrieks. No! I yell, doing my best to run to the truck, feeling my own joints and bones aching and cracking. No, the door is stuck. You have to get me out of here. Jenny starts panicking. I'm going to get you out. I yell and make my way to the other door. Fire begins to envelop the dry shrubs and grass under Jenny's truck. The components under the hood catch fire, popping and searing. Dean, I'm running out of time, Jenny says, crying. I pry the passenger side door open and try at her seatbelt, but the console of her truck wedged the belts buckle between the base of the seat and the console itself. Jenny shrieks as the dashboard begins to melt and drop on her legs. She kicks at each piece of debris that falls onto her. Dean, I don't want to die, Jenny cries. I'm not going to let you die, I yell. I begin ripping apart the center console, bending it until the lid broke off. In the console, I found a buck knife. Welsh! I scream as I unsheath the knife and cut her belt over the lap. It was close enough to slide through the buckle's loop pretty quickly. I wedge my feet on the chair and the melting steering wheel and kick, causing both of us to fall out of the car, and Jenny shrieks. I realize her femur is sticking out of her leg. She passes out. I carry her out of the rock and burning shrubs, and gently lay her down about 20 feet away from the burning truck. I hear sirens. How? No one was on the road. Then I see it. The Skinwalker. It's walking towards the weird bump in the landscape. It crouches down and picks up the lump. It screams, revealing that it was, indeed, Ronnie. How did he survive the crash? No, no! Ronnie screams as the thing runs with him, dragging him behind and across the desert scape like a rag doll. I run after him, gun unholstered, but the Skinwalker runs faster, so I point my gun and take my shot. I hear the creature groaning and bodies tumbling. I hit it. I run as fast as I can to find Ronnie and the Skinwalker about 200 feet away. I can't feel my arms and legs, he says, crying, but I ignore him. Where is that motherfucker? Where's he at? Where are you at? I demand. I stomp around the area and finally find it trying to crawl away. I see my bullet hit its leg. It's dangling by a thread. I lost it. I unloaded the rest of my magazine into the fucker. And when I ran out of bullets, I pulled the trigger a few more times, just to be sure. Then I got on top of him and began to decimate the remains of the thing, using Jenny's knife to cut out its still beating heart, listening to it squeal, then die as I pull out its lungs. I knew he was dead. I was drenched in its blood. And if that wasn't good enough, I took the knife and cut around the circumference of its wrist and ankles, made an X-shaped incision from the torso to its extremities, and peeled its skin off. Or at least what was left. It was dense, coarse, and heavy. When I got to its head, I broke its neck with the butt of OJ's buck knife, and cut the muscles around the base of the skull, and pulled that son of a bitch's head off. It was still twitching when I began walking away from its hide. I was delusional, in shock. Ronnie? He was silent, almost the entire time. I'll never know if he was able to see what happened. Quite frankly, I don't give a shit if he did. He needed to grow a pair. I dragged the thing's hide back to the scene, Then the cops and fire department saw me. They drew their weapons while the EMTs ran to see if I was okay. The cops demanded that they back off and commands that I put the deer down. I can hear Jenny in pain. Good. I know she's alive. When the cops got to me, they froze because they knew that I wasn't holding a deer. They patted me on the back and demanded the EMTs help this man now. They knew. So they silently and awkwardly patched me up, cleaned me off, and kept me covered. Most of the ride to the local hospital is a blur. I remember the ride was awkward and silent. The EMTs only checked on me to make sure I wasn't showing signs of concussion or other internal damage. It turns out I had a compressed spine, concussion, and a bruised rib, and minor internal bleeding. I remember the pain I was in, but was too shaken to really care. Ronnie was paralyzed from the neck down, suffering internal brain hemorrhaging. The doctors didn't know how he survived that crash. He was stabilized and went through the night. He ended up dying 2 days later. That fucker. Jenny was surprisingly okay. She suffered a broken femur, several concussions, and several second-degree burns to the shins and thighs. She has some trouble using her left leg now, but she's working through it. We went to the kid's funeral. It was the least we could do. They buried him and Savannah next to each other. They didn't find her body, but held a service anyway. And Savannah's father next to them. Well, at least his empty casket. It's a sick thing Ronnie did. But he was just a stupid kid. A stupid fucking kid. Hey, Diarch. Jenny broke my thoughts. What? I grunted. It's a brave thing you did out there. You've saved my life, she said. The kid died, I replied. I know, Dean. That wasn't your fault. Nobody could have ever done this the way we did. We were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Hell, I would be dead right now if you hadn't pulled me out of the fire, into the cooler, into the store. As far as the cops see it, you're a hero, she states. Yeah? I asked, just letting her talk. We need folks like you on the force, Dean. I don't know where you got your instincts from, but it would be a gold mine, she says. I'll think about it, I say, ignoring her. She ended up getting me to cave, especially after she, herself, healed. It's been a couple of years since this all happened. Jenny stayed by my side the entire time, dedicated to take those suckers out. We know a 45 hollow point can take out one of those fuckers. We hunt them with 45s and up. We've only gotten a few over the years, but that's better than none. And it turns out they want revenge. We're waiting, and we're prepared. It's been about a decade since the first recorded death of a Skinwalker in Tucson, but now we know that they're smart and fast, but still killable. We also know that they want the hides of their kind. We'll come and get them, fuckers. We're waiting. You did fine, Dean, OJ insisted. I appreciate it, but you need to know that could have gone smoother, I replied, disgruntled. We throw the dead Skinwalker into the back of my truck and cover it with a tarp. You don't get to complain, Dean. Your aim's better than mine, Jenny says. And all I can complain about is how much of a fucking mess you made when you killed these things. Yeah? I joke. Show me how to shoot something without it bleeding. Then I'll show you what I can do. That's not what I meant, Dean. You know what I mean, Jenny asserted. I get you're upset, and we're not exactly killing these fuckers in the name of mercy, but you've got some serious anger issues you got to work out. The ride to the station was less than pleasant. I knew OJ was right, but I also knew she could be hard-headed. We made our way back to the station. Hey! It's Dean and OJ. Should I say DJ? Exclaims Daryl. Ha, gets me every time, I say, clearly annoyed. Hey, Daryl, get back to filing your important paperwork, or I'll tell your wife you went to that club last night, Jenny backlashed. The office roars. Yeah, staying late my ass. If you actually stayed late, like you tell Heather, you'd actually have some field time and not a mountain of paperwork to finish. She adds on, slamming the office door. We both heard the entire office teasing Daryl as we peer through, then close the blinds. So are you gonna tell me or what? Jenny insists. You were silent the entire ride here. I guess you're not in a good place, but obsessing over whatever isn't going to help you sleep at night. I would know. We do share a bed. We're not gonna do this. Not here, not now, I say, bolting towards the door. Then when, Dean? When are you going to figure out that there's never a good place or a good time to talk about it? I put my hand on the doorknob and freeze, realizing she's right. I know. You know that I've had a crush on you since I worked at that gas station, I say, locking the door. And saving your life has been the best thing that's ever happened because I know it's probably the only reason you said yes to my proposal. It's the only reason you said yes to any of my dates, and the only reason you're in my life as my wife. It's the only reason we had a kid. The only reason we're in this office, arguing about the petty shit. And I don't think you realize how hard it is to appreciate that from my perspective. I monologue. Then what is it about? Me appreciating you? God, it's like I have to fall to my knees and worship you to get it through your head that I do love you. Jenny exclaims. I never asked you to bow down to my will. I never asked you to worship me. I didn't ask for any of this. I feel like the shit we're doing is just so forceful and artificial that it pulls every past element in question. What's real, Jenny? You expect to know anything and everything there is to know, but never tell me what's up with you? I can't do it. You've got to tell me what's fucking with your minds, too. You're just stone-faced in and out of the office. I'm your husband, but you can still treat me like that cashier you met years ago, I said sternly. Just be real with me, Jenny. I'm not just another case for you to work on. I'm not doing this. Not now. She heads for the door. No, we are. You wanted to chit-chat, now let's talk, I said, blocking the door. Move, Dean, she states. You can't just do this shit. You asked me to talk, and I did. Now you're running away? I argue. Hey, is everything alright in there? Sounds like domestic violence if you ask me, Mark says, knocking harshly at the door. Yeah, Jenny says, unlocking and pulling the door open. We were just leaving. Thanks for minding your own fucking business, Davidson. She bitches. I'll take my cruiser home. See you in a few, Dean. She storms off. Ooh, Diarch. Nice to know she's got the pants in this relationship. The office roars. Don't forget your purse, buddy, Daryl chimes in. Hey, don't be mad that Heather has your balls in her purse, Daryl. We all know your ass is whipped, I replied. The office screams on as I leave. I rush home and get the Skinwalker strung up in the garage. I've learned to drain the blood on sight. It makes less of a mess at home. I'm almost done skinning the thing before Jenny comes in. I'm going to Addie's, Jenny says, breaking the silence. We still need to finish our conversation, I say, peeling off the rest of the hide. She pauses for a second and sighs. I don't know how long we can keep Dana. She's got schoolwork to do. Just get that thing out of here before she sees. I'll keep her distracted for you, but I'm shooing her away in 15 minutes. She nods, closing the door and leaves. I skin the thing and bury the body in a pre-dug hole, planting a tree on top. Same plan, same execution, done on time. We have 6 other trees like this one. Hopefully nobody gets nosy and tries to see why we're planting so many of them. It's not like anyone at the office is in the dark. It's the civilians that we have to worry about. I watch as Dana leaves. Bye-bye, Mr. Diarch, she shouts as she closes her car door and leaves. Of course, I offer the friendly wave. It's getting dark out, and Sage only wards off skinwalkers. It's no guarantee. I rush inside to cold food from McDonald's, again. That's when I hear a noise outside. I see the red eyes peering in the distance. For the second time today, I'm dealing with a skinwalker. Where's Jenny when you need her? I dart upstairs and search for and hide Clay. Clayton, son, wake up.
Daddy?
He mutters. Look, bud, we're out of time. We're going all in for real. A time to play cat and mouse, I say hurriedly. Clay springs up for joy.
Really? For real?
Yes, Clay, but you're mouse first. Hide in for the secret spot so Mommy doesn't find you, and remember to wear your super strong, super protective Diego the Explorer button.
Daddy, it's Go Diego Go,
Clay corrects. Yeah, kid, I know. Hide, I assert. Clay gets up and puts his Go Diego Go vest with his favorite stuffed animal and hides in the crawl space in the back of the closet. He turns on the lantern inside. Now, Clay, don't open the door to anyone. Not me, not Mommy, not Dana. Nobody. Got it? I ask. He proudly nods.
Unless you say the magic word and open the door.
Good. You remember, I exclaim. Now hush hush until you hear the magic word, okay? I see he silently nods and I close the door. I can hear him lock it from the inside. But what Clay wasn't expecting was that I would padlock the door shut on my side. It doesn't matter who showed up. If they don't know where to look, they can't find him. If they hear him, I don't know what I'd do. I'm not going to risk it. Not now, not ever. Jenny, answer the fucking phone. There's a Skinwalker scoping out the place. Be careful. I love you. I leave one more message. I confirm that all the doors and windows are locked. Not that it'd matter. They're double pane, bulletproof, plexiglass. The doors are reinforced, lightweight steel. Nobody in, nobody out. I turn around to find Jenny standing behind me. Oh, Christ, I have my gun out. How'd you get in? Did you get my messages? I interrogated.
Yes, Dean,
Jenny says meekly. What does the last message say? Verbatim, I ask.
Baby, it's me. You don't have to ask me all these questions,
she says. You're not Jenny, I say, pointing my gun at her. Before I can pull, the fake Jenny looks up with those red eyes and blows some kind of powder in my face and runs. I'm careful not to breathe, but I think I inhaled some anyway. Fuck, they can shift into other people? I run to the kitchen and try to clean my eyes, ears, nose, and mouth of the foreign substance. But as I run to the sink, my vision becomes blurry, legs heavy, and arms flaccid. I'm blacking out. I made one last-ditch effort to activate the GPS on my phone so Jenny can track me. I blacked out before I was able to confirm it was on. I wake up, groggy, tied to a large wooden post that's been dragged through the woods. Hey! Hey! I yell. The Skinwalker stops and peers at me. I know from Jenny that you can never break eye contact. It's never been this hard. Usually I peer at them with iron sights in between. This time, I have no gun. I'm bound and I'm alone. What do you want, you son of a bitch? Vengeance? I provoke. They know no words that could ever do you justice, you fool. I hear a woman speak. She's wearing an owl mask that covers the top half of her face. She walks towards me and continues. But I hear it's you who destroy my babies. What do you have to say for yourself? She demands. Your babies? You birthed these animals? I question, sickened. Birthed? No, these children are not of my flesh. They are the wicked, the divine. They seek out the world that hosts them. They are those who choose to live outside the life of humiliation, she said. Before I was able to add to her crazy, she gestures to the Skinwalker and points to a pile of wood. The Skinwalker drags me to the pile, lifts the stake, and presses it into the ground. So this is it, I ask. You kill me and think you're free? This won't stop the killings. This will not end the fight between you Skinwalkers and humankind, I state. Kill you? You fool. We know you're the leader in your pack. We're not going to kill you. A dead leader creates chaos, but dead followers. That leaves one leader with nobody to follow. A madman, she says. Before I knew it, she turns into an owl and flies away. She's a Skinwalker too. But her transformation was smooth and silent. Usually Skinwalkers bend and crack in awkward ways before changing into something that usually looks like a deer or a wolf. I would know. I have their hides. I guess I wait. The sun is pretty much all the way down at this point. I'm just relieved that they don't have Jenny or Clay. I watch as the stripes of red, magenta, orange, and yellow fade from the sky, one at a time. I feel the bugs biting and pricking my arms and neck. As the moon rules the sky, I can hear faintly in the distance, Jenny.
We are currently in the approximate area where his phone last pinged. If the project pings correlate well enough with our info, he's here. Team 1, you will finish searching subsection A, then B, then C. We're not resting until we find my husband. I don't care if we, God forbid, recover a body. We're finding him. I hear her voice command. No. I know they're going to be picked off one by one if they split up. I've got to act quickly. I doubt the owl bitch is going to cut me a deal. I begin wrestling and twisting my wrist to loosen the ties. The owl bitch shrieks and digs her talons into my shoulders. That way! I hear Jenny yell. I hear the troops running my way. The owl bitch lets go and flies. Jenny comes first, followed by a moderately large group of men. Dean!
OJ runs to me. No, it's a trap! Men, clockwork formation! I command.
You hear him! Cover your sixes!
Jean asserts. The troops arrange themselves in a circle, backs to each other, kneel, guns out, with OJ in the center.
Dean, buddy, talk to me. What do I need to know?
Jenny asks. Look for red eyes. There's 2 known walkers. One is Easy ID. The other is an owl, I say.
Heard. 1 birdie, 1 walker,
Jenny confirms.
Keep your eyes peeled,
she commands. That's when a large rock comes flying from the sky, knocking Jenny out. No! I yell. Maintain formation, I command, still bleeding from the shoulders. Davidson, Whitmore, Fabritz, focus, Bird. Gordon, confirm clear, then cut my ties, I command. Gordon scans the area, then approaches me, climbing on the mound. He stores his gun and reaches for his knife. He partially cuts free my hand before a blow dart nails him in the neck. Fuck, no, give me the knife, I command, but Gordon goes down, tumbling down the pile of wood before he can get to me. It came from my 1, I cry, the man focused to my 1. We get ambushed by about 4 walkers, who pull 4 men from the back of the group, then 2 more from the front. Guns fire, but to no avail. The formation was broken, and there is nobody. All 6 men have been successfully disarmed and pulled away from the group. I can still hear them yelling, but their screams are fading. Gordon is still at my feet, and Jenny is down. That's when I see the woman with the owl mask approaching me.
You really believe you can defeat us? That was easy. Easy enough to lead me to believe that there's more. Any more magic tricks, Dean?
I stay silent.
Shame. I'm willing to make a deal with you. I'll keep your men alive, and they'll stay that way if you retrieve for me 1 thing, she remarks.
I don't make deals, bitch, I grunted.
Fine. Your rules, your way.
She turns around and lights a bundle of wood on fire, transforms back into an owl and flies away. Shit, what is she going to do? I tear the rope and free my right hand, then grasp the stake and start pulling at the rope to tie and free my left hand. It wasn't too hard to pull apart. With my legs still tied, I let myself fall forward and try to reach Gordon's knife. It's too far, and the rope is clinching my ankles to the stake. Fuck, I mutter to myself. I push myself back up and try to crouch, feel around and undo the rope around the feet, which is harder than it seems when it's dark, and the rope is taut enough to inhibit my bending. It's almost like I can pivot my ankles with minimal clinching, but I can't angle the legs inwards or outwards to bend. That's it. I could try and pivot around the stake to loosen the rope. I firmly grasp the stake and pivot around it, flexing my calves to allow a saw-like motion to work away at the rope, but it didn't seem to be doing much. Shit, I mutter, defeated. I look up to find the eyes of a skinwalker in the distance, dragging one of my men towards me. I grasp the stake, hoping the thing didn't see that I was untied. As the skinwalker approached, it placed Daryl in front of me. Hey buddy,
Daryl says, monotone. I stay silent. Is it actually Daryl? He sounded like fake Jenny when he spoke. I need your help. I will die. I don't want to die. Will you help? Says Daryl. Before I could answer, the other skinwalkers approached my stake, dragging unconscious troops to my sight from all directions and piling them onto the mound of wood. I turned to find Jenny, only to see her being lifted by a skinwalker and gently placed at my feet. The silence grows louder. The owl transforms back into the woman and approaches me. Have you decided wisely? She asks. Putting my troops' lives at stake is the most cliché power play. Once the collateral is gone, what'll happen? You'd only be digging your own grave, I state. Fair enough. But look at it this way. Once your forces are gone, there will be nothing stopping we skinwalkers from prowling the earth. You humans know so much, yet it only scratches the mere surface of the truth. She replies, what will you gain from breeding your kind? Superiority? Dominance? There is no world to control without the chaotic nature of cat and mouse. You'd only be dooming yourself and your kind to turn on itself, just like mankind. I provoke. You disdainful boar. The minds of free-willed flesh is the only mistake that's been had. Men amongst men will stall its progression, yet it's men among men who will catalyze its development. The sensuous and arrogant appetite is man's only downfall. We crave peace, solitude. Man is the only species who prevents us from our haven. We will not be driven from our land. You will extinguish our kind no longer. She refuses. Killing us will only bring more. First by the tens, then by the hundreds. The only way you can live in secrecy is to run away. It's a responsibility that's clearly too much for you to handle. Just run. Run while there's still time, I reply. Running will only allow you to take more, she hisses. I look down at Jenny, only to see that she's crying. It appears your companion is awake, she observes. I'll give you just a few moments to your love while you still both live. Jenny drags herself up and finds her strength, or at least enough to loosely stand. I love you, Dean. Never forget me. She holds back her tears. I know, OJ. Give me one last kiss, I ask. She stumbles and clutches my shoulders. I can smell the blood coming off the top of her skull. Quickly thinking, I pull the knife off her side and on the gut of her hip and fire at the woman. But the skinwalker standing next to her jumps between me and her, taking the bullet. The woman shrieks. The skinwalker that took the bullet is now dying. Now it seems like a trance is broken and the skinwalkers become disoriented. One of the walkers comes and tears Jenny away from me. After regaining lucidity, my men search for their protection. While the woman and skinwalkers are distracted, I cut the rope at my feet using OJ's knife. I hear my men screaming, commanding, and teaming up, using their spare knives, guns, or weapons to fend off the nearest beast. A couple of them transform to an animal and flee. I run at the woman and tackle her, using my knife to cut her neck just a little. Bring her back, I demand. Tell the skinwalker that took her away to bring her back. I can't. You broke the chain of spells. I have to see the skinwalker that took her, she begs. In spite, I take the butt of my knife and break her nose. She screams in pain. Simultaneously, the living skinwalkers turn and peer at me. Soon after, they all charge at me. My men were able to pick off one or two at the tail end, but one got to me and hurled me off the witch. I feel branches and thorns pierce my skin and break my ribs as I land in a mesquite tree. Helpless, I can only watch as the witch turns back into an owl and flies into the night. The trip back to the emergency room was hell. First, we had to hike to the nearest road for ambulance access. Besides one of the troops breaking an arm or busting a lip, everyone was seemingly unscathed. That witch had enough power to control these skinwalkers, and these walkers have enough superhuman capabilities to have killed all of us. Why didn't they? For the first time, the fire beneath my ass is gone.
I don't feel hatred or disgust, bitterness or revulsion. I'm scared. I know that I'm staring silently into the nothingness. I know that if I don't sleep, I can't save Jenny. I know that if I force myself to eat, I'll be strong enough to save Jenny. I'm literally watching myself spiral into an obsessive, compulsive fit of controlled rage. The guys at the office tell me they'll keep searching. They tell me that we'll save her. She's Jenny. She's a fighter. But I already know that the chances of finding a missing persons after 48 hours MIA is almost a guarantee to the possibility of finding a body. It's been 3 weeks. I already told Clay that Mommy is gone and she'll be back. I told him not to worry. Needless to say, Dana has been practically living at the house. She knows I can't possibly pay her for all the time she's been over. She feels bad because she knows Jenny is missing. Almost anyone in Jenny's life has been over to try to help me cope. If anything, they're forcing me into my tunnel vision. They need to stop, or else I will do something stupid. I've got to step away emotionally from this situation so I can clear my head.
You've been cleaning your gun all night.
Dana finally breaks the silence. I glance at her, knowing she needs to go back home, knowing she's probably tired, and knowing she can't pay her bills or college tuition on free babysitting.
Look, Mr. Dyark, I know that Miss Dyark is your wife, but the obsessing isn't going to help.
She speaks. I think it's time for you to go. I bitterly reply.
Fine,
she says, grabbing her backpack.
I know I've overstepped my bounds. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to help.
I stare, expecting her to leave.
If there's anything you need me to do, you have my number,
she says. She's right. I need to do something. Clay comes running down the stairs.
Daddy, Mommy's shirt is in the trees,
he says. I feel the chills run through my spine as I sharply turn towards him. Really? Show me, I demand. Clay leads back up the stairs to his room, where he finds Jenny's flannel casually hanging from the tree branch. No blood. Nothing. It looks just like the night she found me 3 weeks ago. Clayton, stay here. I'm going to go and see why Mommy's shirt is there, I say, closing and locking his door. It's a classic trap. I call for backup. After about 10 minutes, a search team arrives. Buddy, how you doing? Daryl asks. Fine. The shirt Jenny was wearing at the time of disappearance is located at the east end of the property, in a tree. I'm pretty sure the Skinwalkers are baiting. For what? I don't know, I state.
Dyark, Hank calls. Look at this.
He points out some writing on each of the trees. What are these, runes? Daryl asks.
Why only on one of those trees? Hank asks.
I think they know, I stutter out. Know what? Daryl asks. These trees are where I buried the bodies of the Skinwalkers I hunted, I reply.
Hey!
Hank yells, pointing his gun out into the open. I look in the direction to see that someone's there, hiding in the wilderness. Tusayan police, show yourself, Daryl blares out. The three of us go to see who's spying on us. Before we know it, a woman jumps out and runs away into the wilderness.
Hey, stop right there,
Hank says. We all chase the woman, but she's fast. After a minute or two of running, we're barely within sight of my house. I can't keep going. Clay's home alone, I assert. Then go back. I'll call Heather. She'll watch your kid. We'll keep looking for the woman in the meantime, Daryl says, pulling out his cell phone. It's getting dark out. I expect you guys to be using the phone trackers. We can't afford to lose anybody, I bark.
Yes, sir,
Hank and Daryl affirm. They turn on their GPSs and head out. I run back home and look for Clay, expecting for him to be doing something in his room behind his locked door.
I get through the back and head upstairs. "Clay!" I call out, knocking on the door. There's no answer. "Clay!" I bang on the door, reaching for the top of the door frame for the key. Bingo. I shove the key into the pinhole-style lock and unlock the door, shoving it open. "Clayton, where are you at?" I demand. I look under the bed. Nothing. The window is still closed, so I go to the closet door to see if he's in the crawl space. "Clay!" I shout, ripping the crawl space door open. I find Clay, clearly scared. "Why didn't you answer me?" I yelled. He points behind me to the owl I recognized from 3 weeks ago. But before I can get up and charge at the witch, skinwalkers come in and bombard us. "Daddy!" Clay screams. "No!" I shout. They take Clay and run as another skinwalker grabs my arms and another grabs my legs. This is it, isn't it? They're going to kill me. But they stop. The witch approaches me. "You'll regret the day," she says. She gestures and the skinwalkers take me into the wilderness, full speed. It's like an odd dream, like I've been here before. Eventually, I see that famous bend on the 64. I realize we're going north, towards the Grand Canyon. Besides the occasional annoying tourist attraction or hiking route, there's really nothing there. So I'm assuming that's where I am to be slaughtered, massacred like I did those other skinwalkers. At least I'll be able to see Jenny. I already know she's dead. There was so much blood dripping from her hair when they took her away. There's no way they let her live. Even if she did survive, why wouldn't they kill her? She hunted them just like I did. I wasn't going to fight. There's no use in getting road rash. These things run at 60 to 70 miles an hour. I'm unarmed. The only thing I had to live for was Clay, Jenny. But now I don't know what's going to happen. Besides the occasional bump, nick, or scratch, I am relatively unscathed. We reach the south end of the Grand Canyon. All the skinwalkers seem to gather near the edge. Then, one by one, they jump off the rim. "Holy shit!" I exclaim. Then the 2 skinwalkers carrying me line me up, paralleling the canyon. No, I scream and fight. They hurl me over the rim. I let out a scream, but the group of walkers that jumped before me harshly caught me, knocking the wind out of me. Feeling the adrenaline rush, I put up a fight. Worst case scenario is that they kill me. To no avail. They hold me down. I can't even really squirm in my position. "Ah!" I scream in frustration. More like grunt out because I still can't breathe. After my fit of rage, they continue alongside the Colorado River, seeming to move in a more calculated manner. Eventually everything falls silent. No insects, no river, silence. I can only hear the sounds of my own breath and a fluttering in the night. Then I see her. The owl dives from the sky above and lands in front of the walkers. She turns back into a human and walks towards a flat side of the canyon wall. She mumbles something and takes a vial, pours its contents into her hands and begins drawing on the wall. They looked like some kind of pictographic runes, similar to the ones of the trees I planted. The runes slide down to the ground. Behind us, I can hear rocks scraping as the riverbed pulls itself open. A dim light emits from the hole. She jumps in. The skinwalkers follow, jumping in. Same as the last time. I am thrown down to the pack of skinwalkers, caught, then restrained. It appears she's been established here for a while. The cave-like hole seems to burrow further into the canyon. We follow the witch. We walk for a moment or two before I begin to hear someone crying. I think it's Clay. "Clayton!" I shout. "Daddy, I'm scared," he screams. "I know, buddy. Just stay strong for me, okay?" I assure. The 2 skinwalkers carry me to a cell-like cave and hold me down. The others in the group wedge thick wood posts in the cracks of the rock, ultimately fashioning a jail cell. It's weird being on the other side of prosecution, with no intentions to protect. Not for me. Not for Clay. By the looks of it, we're being guarded. I look across the cave and see another cell, made the same way with a woman inside. All I can see is her back. I wonder what she did to deserve this. To my left is Clay's cell, and to my right, another cell. I wonder who's in that one. Maybe it's empty. We wait. I have no concept of time to communicate. There's no light besides the torches in the fire pit. These skinwalkers just sit and stare. They are still as stone, not even really blinking. Occasionally, the witch has brought some kind of dead animal or plant. She ultimately throws all or some of the items into the fire, mumbling. Suddenly, a skinwalker approaches the witch. She stares at the skinwalker. "Bring me the remains," she commands. The skinwalker bows and leaves. "Dean Dyark," she summons. Seeing that I didn't respond, she turns her head to me and asks one more time. "Dyark, Dean," she provokes, semi-sensually striding towards my cell. "You're not going to monologue, are you?" I gawk. "Because I really don't want to hear it," I continue. "Oh, I think you do," she says, surely. "Right," I reply. The skinwalker comes back with a long box, maybe 3 to 4 feet long and 1 to 2 feet wide, and props it open to face me. "Do you know what's in this box?" she asks. "Your hopes and dreams?" I provoke. You could say that. More like my despairs and incubus," she says, monotone. She opens the box to reveal a seemingly human skeleton, arranged with an empty slot on top, and what I can assume are the pelvis, legs, and arms of the remains. "As you know, I treat these creations with the temerity of my own kin. If they find themselves in trouble, I write a spell. If they're hurt, I heal." Yeah, what's your point? You care. Good for you. Maybe next you win the next presidential election or Nobel Peace Prize, I say sarcastically. "That's quite the audacity for someone in a jail cell, officer," she states. "Especially since we have your very pride and joy, your love and hate," she says. "Your point?" I gawk. "When one of my skinwalkers betrays me, I take it personally. I cast a spell, I cast them out, whatever the case may be. This one," she gestures to the box, "betrayed me." "Oh, so let me guess. You killed him, iced him, laid him down. Yeah, I got that. What's the moral of the story? Don't hurt your feelings, or else?" I say. "Wrong again, Mr. Dyark, as usual," she says. "This one I cast out for the night. Perhaps he'll strike fear to the locals. Maybe he'd sleep on the rock of the canyon, or maybe he'd come back and atone from his betrayal. Or maybe he'd come back and atone for his betrayal," she says. "And?" I ask. "Clearly, Mr. Dyark, none of the expected bechance," she said. "And?" I ask. And this skinwalker happened to meet another witch, or shall I say, a wise man, those damn do-gooders, because he performed a simple ritual to summon skinwalkers. A ritual weak enough for most skinwalkers to ignore. But him, he was a novice at best, so he couldn't resist the spell and answered to the summons," she said. I sit, silent. "He was given a task, a feeble task that only mortals could ever be weak enough to request a skinwalker to do. It was to kill another mortal. Oh, please, give me a break. Just do it yourself, human. Don't distract yourself by having the supernatural entities do your petty work." She dramatically turns and gestures to no one. So I communicate to my skinwalker, telling him to ignore it and report back to me instead. He ignores me, and thought out that he would bring back the 3 marked entities here and sacrifice them at the altar. Now that was an idea, she says with sarcastic excitement. I commanded he come back, but he never did. So, I say. She turns and directs the Skinwalker behind her. It goes to the cell across from mine and pries open the wooden bars. The woman inside freaks out and backs up to the wall. The Skinwalker grabs her and leads her out, throwing her in front of my cell. "Do you know who this is?" the witch asks. "No," I reply. "Oh, she was the topic of the night. You likely know this one as Savannah," she says, putting her hands on her hips. My stomach dropped. I look at her, and she's starting to tear up, face pressed into the ground. "The missing persons case from 5 years ago," I mutter. "Correct. There's a point for you. I will present to you her father, but he died during his stay. The remains are well disposed of. As for the third one, what's his name? The blubbery one." She gestures to the Skinwalker, who twists Savannah's arm. "Ronnie! It's Ronnie!" she yells in pain. That's the name. Ronnie," she repeats in disgust. "The lardacious coward who summoned us to begin with. The one who earned an easy death." "The one who started all of this," I mutter. "Oh, I wouldn't go that far, Dean Dyark. I would have cared less for those weak, feeble mortals. But you have to butt in and save the day. Save the girl, get married. You even went as far as to have this disgusting child." She melodramatically gestures to Clay's cell. "Why do you even care, witch? Why does my life matter to you so much?" I cut in. "Oh, don't be hasty, Dyark. The skull. Where's the skull?" She pointed to the box. "I don't know," I reply. "I loathe these games, Dyark. You have to know where it is," she says, getting angry. "I don't even know what you're talking about," I argue. "The Skinwalker you killed 5 years ago, Dean. Where is his skull?" she demands. I say, "It was taken from me by the police that night. I don't know. You are the cursed chief of police. You know where it's at," she demands. I defend, "It's a shitty fucking skull. Why do you care so much?" "Because he's my son," she overlaps me, yelling. The cave falls quiet. We can only hear the witch heavily breathing. Savannah is sobbing now. "Hanging in my office, at the Tusayan police station," I reply. "A trophy. You made my son a trophy?" she asks, rhetorically. "And as for the hide?" she asks. "Stored in the detached garage, inside a wooden crate. There you will find 7 hides," I reply. "Thank you, Mr. Dyark," she says through gritted teeth. She continues. "You heard him. Go," she commands the Skinwalker. It leaves the room. Savannah's sobbing grows louder. "Oh, shut up!" The witch picks her up and shoves her. Savannah trips and lands in the fire. She shrieks. The witch glares at her actions and walks away. After regaining some level of control, Savannah rolls out of the flames while rapidly rubbing her hair to put it out. At least what's left of it. It's mostly charred scalp. She just lays there, twitching, moaning, and crying. Eventually, she drags herself back to the cell. Ages later, the walker returns, hauling the hides of the Skinwalkers. "Excellent," she says, sifting through them and picks up one of them. I'm assuming it's her son's. "Seeing the others were buried to some proper degree, there's no use in keeping their skins," she says, throwing the hides into the fire. As soon as the hides hit the fire, they scream. They sound distant, only fading away after a minute or two. She mutters more. The smoke turns white. I can see figures leaving the hides. Spirits. "Did you know, Mr. Dyark, that a Skinwalker's spirit remains with the hide after death? Since you blindly preserved the hides, the spirit cannot pass on. Since the bodies are beneath the trees, I cannot put the hides back. Burying them will eventually lead to the decomposition But in the meantime, fire shall purify, she says. I stare, not really caring, but I have to admit, it is scary to know that those spirits of the Skinwalkers were still hanging around my house. It explains a lot, actually. Bring me the child, she commands. No. Whatever it is, witch, your beef is not with him. It's with me, I demand. Oh, you'll see, Dean Diarch. I'm not going to do anything I wouldn't do to my own child, or myself, for that matter, she replies. I'm not playing your fucking games. Whatever it is, let him go, I command. The witch glares at me, but the Skinwalker in Clayton's cell has already brought him to her. She pulls a knife off her person, provoking me to charge the wood bars. The two Skinwalkers in my cell grab each side of me and throw me to the back of the cell, pinning me to the wall and ground. The witch scoffs and slices her own palm. Child, burden, curse, she addresses Clay, kneeling. Today will be the best and worst day of your life. You will know pain, but you will also know love, she says. No, Clayton whines. Yes, fear not. I promise I will show you no harm, she says as the Skinwalker holds him in position. She covers his mouth with her wounded hand. Clayton tries to scream but can't. All he can do is cry. No, what are you doing to him? I demand. One of the two Skinwalkers in my cell holds their deformed arm across my mouth, silencing me. Clayton stops and falls silent. The Skinwalker lets him go. He doesn't run. He doesn't cry. He doesn't flinch. He just stands there. After a second, he looks at me and cries, having a complete and total meltdown. The witch begins to click her tongue at him. It's all right, child. Your daddy loves you very much, and he means well. You already see that he loves you, right? Clayton nods yes, and heads to the cell across from him. The wooden bars are pried open, and he is let in. The Skinwalkers let me go. Poor fool, she comments. What did you do to him? I ask. The witch stares at me, approaching my cell. I showed him what you've done to my own, how you've murdered them. I told him the truth, she says. He's just a kid. He doesn't need to be seeing that shit, I yell. Just like we never needed to see our own die, your own die, she says. The Skinwalkers let themselves out. I stand confused. Reveal yourselves, the witch commands. The Skinwalkers begin to bend, crack, and shriek, shedding their bloody hides. They're people, human. These monsters you've been exterminating are human. The same ones you swore to protect and serve, the witch says. Hello, Mr. Diarch, one says, peeling off her hide. Dana, I confirm. She nods and grasps one of the wooden bars of my cell. I've seen your good side and your worst. Quite frankly, Mr. Diarch, I wish I could defend you, but I can't, she says. She walks away towards the cell Clayton is in. He rushes to her, hugging her arms through the cell bars. These epiphanies always bring out so many emotions, just like battle, the witch says. I can only sit and watch in my own guilt. What can I even do? Even if I do save my son, even if I do bust out of here, I still have to live knowing I killed people. I didn't know they were human. But what am I going to do? I sit there, then lay. Reassume yourselves, the witch demands. The people reapply their skins and transform back into skinwalkers, circling the fire. I'll make you one last offer. A pact. You leave us alone, and we will leave you to the rest of your waking life, for however long you may live, the witch says. The skinwalkers approach and pry open my cell. You're not playing games. No conditions, no strings, I confirm. Only one thing. I want my son back. You killed him, but you can also bring him back, the witch says. How? I pry, more so demanded. A sacrifice. Pure atruvi, she says. I'll do it, Savannah cuts in from her open cell. Don't be so zany, darling. The divine won't want your broken soul. And your body doesn't have much to offer either. It's not like you're a virgin, nor do you have virgin blood. If you were, I just might have said yes. But you have nothing to live for. The witch scoffs. Silence. Savannah just cries more and more. No, I can't. Not my son. I retract. I thought so. Alternately, the witch says. Me. It's me. I'll do it. I hear a woman mutter from Clayton's new cell. She barely walks out of the cell. She's lost so much weight. She's bony, frail. It's Jenny. Jenny! I leap forward, only be stopped by the Skinwalkers. I can't. There's another way. There's always another way, I say. I'm afraid not, Mr. Diarch, the witch says assertively. The hands of the killers must kill. And your wife, tortured soul, weak body, yet she still offers all she has left to save her son and you. She even has virgin blood. The divine shall be pleased. No deal. She has to live. Jenny and my son have to live, I demand. The witch gets angry. Don't say I didn't try. She charges at Clay and transforms into an owl. If I can't have my son, I'll have yours. She sinks her talons into Clayton's arm and rapidly flaps her wings to drag him to the fire. No, I scream. Jenny grabs him and it slows the witch down, but she's too weak to hold on. The Skinwalkers charge at Jenny and separate her from Clay. Thinking fast, I grab her son's hide and throw it into the fire. The hide begins to shriek. The witch wails and lets Clayton go, diving into the fire to save the hide. A Skinwalker throws me down to the ground and holds me there, compressing my chest. She pulls the hide away and begins to rapidly flap her wings to put the hide out. She transforms back into herself and lifts the hide from the ground. If I didn't need you to perform the ritual, you could have called yourself as good as dead, she hissed at me. You will feel pain. She dashes at me with her knife and commands the Skinwalkers to hold me down. She tears my shirt and starts to carve at my chest. I scream in pain. The Skinwalkers pick me up and put me in Jenny's cell with Clayton. I cover my chest and we all back up into the corner. We're sealed in. United once again. But why? Why this way? Clayton clings to his mother once more, and she clings to me. I cry in silence because I don't have the slightest clue nor the slightest way to even fathom how I'm going to save the family I was sure I already lost. I peer, seeing the witch, frustrated and crying while smothering her son's hide with some kind of gel, grooming it. For the first time, I'm pretty sure I understand how she feels. Fuck, I mumble, pressing my head against the cave's wall. Bring me the boy, she commands. The Skinwalkers open the cell once again and go for Clay. Jenny grasps harder and I dive in front. They shove me out of the way one last time and snatch Clay away. Mommy, he yells as he's being dragged to the witch. The witch scrapes the gel off the hide and throws it onto Clayton. The witch and Clay shriek as the gel is being thrown. It seems to be searing his skin, transforming the burns from the hide. Enraged, I charge at the witch. She transforms one last time, dropping her knife in the bowl of gel, and flies away with the hide, leaving me with my burning child. The Skinwalkers evacuate. As soon as they leave, the hallway closes itself off. I do my best to wipe the gel off and accept the burns. Desperately, I wipe off as much as I can and try to flick it off, but it clings to my skin. I lift my son to embrace him. His breathing is slowing, but he's still alive. I know what I have to do. I'm not letting my son die like that. I stand, carrying him to the knife the witch had dropped and shoved it into his heart. He lets out one last whine and dies. I wail, cry, sob, and shake. I begin to have a panic attack and cling to my son. He still bleeds. I embrace him tighter. Jenny drags herself to me and cries. She hugs us, accepting the burns too. Our flesh peels and sticks to each other. "It is done," the witch says, standing behind me. I try with all my might to attack her one last time, but the simple sight of her gaze stops me from doing so. I let go of Clay. Jenny holds him and falls to the ground. She peels my shirt away from the knife wounds. They are scarred and healed. "To sacrifice your own, you bathe in the blood of your kin. Shall you live as the beast of the divine?" says the witch. I feel my bones break, snap, and rearrange themselves. I grow taller, my vision turns red like fire. And to the divine do we serve and seek, to obey and give. I find myself thinking, following her mantra, kneeling and bowing towards the witch. I take the hide of her son and place it over my son, resurrecting his body. But it's not him that appears, but her son, who takes my son's vessel. I can hear the witch commanding me to kill Jenny and Savannah, remembering what she said. "Fire shall purify," echoes through my head.